hey, you can't do that. You cannot be a company that's so big that you just eat up every other company. Stop that.
Was he the one that got rid of the railroad magnets?
I believe.
Magnates?
I believe. If he is, I'm proud that you know more about presidents than I do, Jackson. That's very impressive.
I mean, I assume because it was like 100, 200 years ago, it would have been.
Yeah,
probably.
I know the railroads
So it would
and
have been like
steel were a
railroad.
huge problem back then because it was one company that did literally all of it.
Yeah, it was monopoly. Yeah, so that's the only thing that made sense.
It was the Rockefellers, right?
Rockefellers and Vanderbilts, I believe, were the two.
Yeah, are you guys team? It's interesting. If that existed in this day and age, you think there would be like stands for each of those companies on Twitter promoting?
100%. Yeah,
I'm Team Vanderbilt.
I wouldn't step foot on a
Rockefeller.
Rockefeller train. No, sir.
Yeah, the future we could have had. Damn you,
Rockefeller's
Teddy
a crime.
Roosevelt.
Well, things are better now, though. Instead of just one company running an entire service, it's 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's
Look at
pretty
all
good.
the cell
Across
phones on
all
Earth. Where do they come
industries.
from? You know?
I mean, it's always
Yeah.
great whenever you show people like how the internet just converged into Google, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, basically.
Yeah.
I have a DNS firewall thing, and I can see like in the logs all of my traffic, and it gives me neat analytics. Like, okay, here's all the majority of website traffic of your last 30 days, and even though I use 0 Google products, like 30% of my traffic still flows through their servers, which is just insane. The dominance they have and all this shit. I follow this one lady attorney for, I think, Activision Blizzard or Microsoft. You guys know how Microsoft is trying to acquire Activision?
By Activision.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the government is trying to prevent them because they're claiming that this would lead to a monopoly and it would cause an unfair market advantage
Well,
for
it's
them.
mostly
And
the EU, right? The EU is the one that is trying to prohibit it, from what I understand. That could be old information, though.
The gaming business is so saturated, though, you would think that's not a very strong argument. I mean, companies buy other game companies buy each other all the time. Studios
Microsoft
constantly
buys a ton, though. Like, this isn't their
Yeah.
first big acquisition. They've bought a ton of
A
major
lot.
That
players.
is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
this
true.
was
I
also a
still-
huge acquisition. It was bigger than Twitter. And look at all the hoopla
Yeah.
Twitter caused.
Well, even
It was 86
then,
billion, I think.
Even then, if we're just looking at umbrellas, the gaming industry, just look at the companies that run that. It's Sony, Ubisoft, EA, Microsoft, and Nintendo. Those are the big boys, you know?
Yeah, and like before this acquisition, Activision would have also been counted up there. Activision Blizzard would have been one of those things. So it is kind of a concern. I can get the concern when two of those start to merge and form one super company. But at the same time, I don't think we're quite at like the monopoly stage of the games industry yet. But I mean, we could eventually, definitely.
Yeah, definitely
The
possible. Definitely.
The fear is there. I get it.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's when it comes to like the government and companies. I'm like always like this example. I'm the Asian dude from Godzilla. You know how the meme where he's looking on the horizon and Godzilla is
Let
fighting
them
another
fight.
kaiju. Yeah, let them fight. As long as they fight each other, they leave us alone maybe for a little bit, and we can remain unfucked for just a split
Well,
second.
also companies fighting is the lead cause for like innovation, at least at the moment. Lead cause for innovation and like better like prices for us.
Yeah,
so it is a
that's-
good thing when they fight.
That's the
the
competition
whole-
argument, yeah. You need
That-
competition.
And I want
Yeah.
them to fight each other. Like the worst thing you can have is when a government and the companies work together, where they each do what the other is technically not permitted to do. It's like when the government wants to shut someone up, they can't do that technically because of the First Amendment. But as we've seen, they can't tell Twitter to just delete someone's account. And when a company wants to get rid of one of their competitors, they can't really do some sleazy shit most of the time, but they can bribe their local politician to introduce new regulations that they
Yeah.
can meet, but that their smaller
You're
competitor
totally right.
cannot meet.
It's like the
So-
rule of two from Star Wars. The Sith Lord.
Everything goes back to
That's
Star Wars.
exactly what we were all
That and
thinking,
Sonic.
Jackson. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
There's always a bigger fish.
That's still one of Qui-Gon Jinn's best statements.
It is. It's so prophetic.
It's profound.
Yeah, it just describes the whole series. There's always a bigger fish.
Well, it describes life.
Well,
really.
what really compounds it is before the setup is genius because Obi-Wan, his line is "Power's back," and it instills that there's power back in the Jedi when he turns the lights back on the boat. It's great foreshadowing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fish line really brings it back down to earth and really makes you think about your place in the universe. Which is what's important with Star Wars.
It dictates their characters. Obi-Wan is a dreamer. He's kind of a seeing ahead, grand, big picture, whereas Qui-Gon Jinn is very, very subtle, very down to earth, very regular, very keeping the peace. And those two lines right there, you could analyze for hours on their significance.
Yeah. You know what I think is super impressive about that line? Is that they obviously placed it there in the first movie, knowing that it would be paid off by the end of the series, because eventually Palpatine does return, and he is the biggest fish.
Well,
of them all.
another incredible part of that line is they put it in the movie as a joke, and yet no one in the theater laughed. And that's crazy to me. That's incredible that they took that risk. Insane. Yeah,
it paid off though. Really, it paid off.
It did. It's made a lot of money.
I was so impressed when no one laughed in the audience. Yeah. It's like, wow.
I almost wanted to laugh out of pity, but I knew no one in the movie would hear me, so I just refrained.
Speaking of not
that would
laughing,
ruin the artistry.
Did any of you see the new Shazam?
No, but I heard it's trash.
Yeah, I saw it. It is actually just kind of sad that the movie got made. Like, it clearly, like, they had no story to tell. It really feels like the most phoned-in shit ever. It is disastrous.
That's impressive for DC.
Wow.
It is. Well, it's because the whole universe is getting reset. This actually just feels like they were like contractually obligated to make a second one and had to. Even the director has made a statement on Twitter saying like, "Yeah, I'm not surprised. We all saw where this was heading, but I got paid up front."
Back.
Wow.
Oh, did he?
He said it was a joke.
Oh.
Yeah, he said that it was a joke.
I think that was very much rooted in honesty, though. Like, no one's surprised by how poor the movie's doing in the box office.
He's usually a good director too. I like David Sandberg.
I don't even think it's his fault. I really don't. I think when The Rock refused to be the villain and play ball with it, they kind of really had to scramble to make something out of Shazam 2, and they fucking failed.
Wait, but The Rock is
to be the villain?
Yeah, isn't The Rock in the movie?
No, he's not in the movie at all. Black Adam has his own standalone film. He's not in the new Shazam.
I saw Black Adam.
Also apparently
oh my god, I thought that was the new Shazam movie. I forgot those are two totally separate movies.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, I bet it was
shit.
Rock saying, "No, I want my own movie. Put me in my own movie. I want to be the leading figure."
So
that was the whole thing, yeah.
Black Adam is literally the main antagonist of Shazam. So who the fuck is the protagonist in the Black Adam movie?
The dragon.
Black Adam.
Yeah, Black Adam's do you mean
Black
who's
Adam's
the
the
villain?
bad guy.
No, he's the good guy in Black Adam.
What?
Yeah, he's the good guy.
He's literally
Black Adam usually
Black
a
Adam
bad
is
guy?
literally the evil Shazam. That's the whole point.
Well, not in this universe.
I remember. So I never finished Black Adam. I saw it like halfway